99.7 FM.
That's right, Hosanna. Palm Sunday.
Jesus, Hosanna.
Yeah, triumphant entry, right?
Hosanna.
Well, I'm seated in the driver's seat here. Not necessarily on a donkey.
Jesus,
but humbled to make that triumphant entry into your homes with ultimate health on Joy 99.7 FM. Right, so last week we tiptoed into the world of the Islamic faith.
You know it's another OPK class.
We try to understand some of the dictates, spiritual instructions with regard to the Ramadan. Yeah, the monthly period of fasting. One of the 5 articles of faith. I have seated in the studio Dr. Kasim Abdullahi. Specializes in dietetics and nutrition. He's based at the University of Cape Coast. We're expecting Dr. Hadi Abdallah, neurosurgeon at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, to join us in this discussion. So we learned some of the pros and cons of fasting with specific reference to the Ramadan. I'm sure you are aware that it coincides with the Christian period of Lent, which also has some instructions with regard to abstinence, almsgiving, and fasting. So Dr. Kasim Abdullahi is with me. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nortey.
Yeah, good to have you again.
Yes,
and
good to be here
Yeah.
again.
How's the fasting going? How's the Ramadan going for you?
Well, so far, I think so good.
Okay.
Yes, it's not been too much of a stress.
Right.
Usually, it's during the first week or the first few days that you really find it quite stressful.
Okay.
But interestingly, this time around, I'm actually not having that kind of feeling or that effect on me.
Okay.
So I'm kind of taking it much easy compared to, the years that have passed.
Right. Okay. Just a second. A little whisper from my producer. Right. So he tells me we're live and we're able to stream now. I believe on Facebook. Is it Abeku? Yeah, Facebook. Okay. And YouTube. All right. Oh, good. They went on a fast, but they're back. Right. So we're live on Facebook and YouTube. But Doc, that's interesting. Initial challenges during the first few weeks, even for you, the expert in quotes when it comes to this territory.
Yes, usually when you start fasting, the body is a new regimen. It's a new dietary plan that you are subjecting the system to.
Okay.
So the body will have to take time to adjust. So that comes with some difficulties. Usually some people will experience some headaches. Some people will experience some nausea and vomiting, dizziness, and all of that.
Okay.
So, and it comes during the first week or the first few days.
Right.
But as you move into the second trimester, we have the first 10 days, second 10 days, and then the last 10 days.
Right.
So as you move into the second trimester, which is the second 10 days, then the body is able to adjust, and then everybody becomes comfortable, becomes so used to the fasting, and they don't really have that effect, that negative effect on them.
Okay.
But like I was saying, this time around is different with me, maybe because I had psyched myself up and I prepared ahead of Ramadan.
Okay.
Probably that is why it's different this time around.
Right. Now, we hear, and there's that famous quote that the African is incurably religious. So when it comes to religious instruction and all these kinds of things, we take them very seriously, and we believe they are over and above anything else. Now, my reading suggests, and I brought it up last week, that we are advised, to consult our physicians when it comes to fasting and some of these things. You explain it places some rigor on the body. The average observant of the Ramadan or Lent, right? Yeah. Even though there are some differences, would tend not to do this. You're not going to see your doctor because you're going to be fasting. Can you comment on that? Is it required, or is it for specific more vulnerable target groups?
Well, to start with, even for a healthy, non-fasting individual, it is good that we do regular checkups.
Okay.
We see our doctors at least twice in a year.
Okay.
So that is good even for a healthy person, just to be sure that you don't have any problem, you don't have anything. Because
Okay.
a lot of these conditions, especially the non-communicable diseases, a lot of them are actually silent
Right.
until by the time they manifest themselves, then there's a huge damage that is being caused.
Okay.
So that is because of that, we recommend and we advise that people should see their doctors. Now, when
Not because of Ramadan, not because of Lent.
not even because of Ramadan,
Regularly
but
get yourself checked
Ex-
at least
ex-
twice a
twice
year.
in a year. That
right?
is a recommendation.
Because all these scriptures, all these holy books
Yes.
make an assumption, and then they make some exemptions.
Exactly.
But you are emphasizing the point. Make sure
You
you
do
are
that.
aware of your health status.
Exactly.
Okay.
But when it comes to a person who is preparing to undertake this spiritual activity,
Mm-hmm.
then it becomes even more important for you to really check yourself and
Okay.
make sure that you are okay.
Right.
Physically to embark on this crucial exercise because it has a lot of implication on our body metabolism.
Okay.
And the conditions that we have really emanate from disruption in the body's metabolism.
Okay.
So how the body metabolizes and processes various things in the system will bring about diseases and
Okay.
all that. So if you are going to undertake an exercise that is really going to interrupt the system that much, so you better check your health. And for the person who is having any ailment, who is not well, especially having any of the non-communicable diseases or having ulcer, it becomes imperative for that person to see their doctor before they embark on this exercise. But just like you are saying, there are exemptions
Right.
for those who are not fit
Right.
to undertake this exercise. And
Okay.
people usually sometimes they don't take it that seriously, and
Okay.
it's a problem.
All right.
Because anything that the human will do that will become so harmful to self, to the body, then it becomes prohibited.
Okay.
So if anything is prescribed for us to do, there are exemptions for those who are fit to do. If doing it will bring about some negative implication on your health or will result in some kind of harm onto you, then it becomes something that is prohibited for you
Okay.
as an individual to do.
Great.
So, for example, taking sugar, it's okay for a healthy person, somebody who is fine. But if you're a diabetic and you are advised against taking sugar, and you go ahead and take sugar and it results in your death or severe complications, then you will even be held accountable for causing that harm onto yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. 18 minutes past your hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by Nature. The program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living, this and every Sunday, 2:05 on Joy 99.7 FM. You just heard speaking Dr. Kasim Abdullahi. He's a specialist in nutrition and dietetics. Am I getting it right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, dietetics.
Dietetics.
Right. Right. All the comininis that you put into your body and what they do for and to the body is his terrain. We're talking about the impacts, the benefits and challenges of fasting, whether it's Ramadan, Lent, or whatever. Right. In this instance, it becomes or constitutes intermittent fasting, right? Short periods on and off of restraining from food and drink and other things, and then you come back to the system. So we're talking about fasting, the good, the bad, and some will say the hungry, right? That's what we're talking about. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Well, happy to announce that Facebook and YouTube is live and streaming this Palm Sunday, yes, so you can get to tune in as well. Let us know your experience online, whether you're able to catch us loud and, as some people say, clear. Yeah, Joy 99.7 FM. We've just been joined by the Nungwa Manche. Right, the Nungwa neurosurgeon, Dr. Hadi Abdallah. And he has so many fans. Ridwan was asking me from afar that he'd heard and he'd seen it on other platforms that we discussed this last week. But we had some challenges with online streaming. So many of the groups, be they Islamic groups and other, didn't get the chance. So I'm hoping that all of them will be aware today as we continue. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Nitete.
Chale will hear me. Bubra, 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 bubra. But how's it going for you? Doc was just sharing with me that, well, first 2 weeks, Chale, it's a bit turbulent. It's like a plane powering for takeoff. You want to hear the ping, seatbelts off. Yeah. How's it going with you? I mean, you're practicing Muslim, both of you. You've been doing this for some time, but share the experience with my listeners. How's it going so far?
Yeah, I think for me so far, it's had an easy effect on my body.
Okay.
You know, I think it's compared to the previous years. I think this year has been quite good. I think the weather too has been quite okay.
Okay.
And I'm not spending a lot of time also in the sun, so that has also been very good.
Essentially, you're looking after yourself as well.
Yes, yes, and I really feel stronger.
Okay.
At this moment, I can see some of my abdominal fat are going down. I'm able to do more press ups.
Okay. Are you trying to say that the prophet dislikes obese people?
Oh, you know,
I mean, for you, it might be an important indicator or objective. But yeah, that's what I'm just, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the prophet and his lifestyle, he spoke against, like we said, overindulging in food. He encouraged people to do a lot of exercises, including even our children. You know, there's one thing I always say about the makranta that I attended, where the teacher told me or told most of us that, playing football was haram.
Okay.
Haram means like forbidden.
Forbidden, it's a sin.
In Islam,
it's a taboo.
You know, yeah, and so people will write your name, they see you playing football. And then I was one day invited by Cape Coast University, the Muslim Student Association, to discuss the health aspect of Islam to them. And during my research, I found many things that during the delivery, they were all shocked, where the Prophet was admonishing parents to allow their children to engage in sports, horse riding, swimming, you know. But these are things about Islam that even our everyday preachers will not talk about. And there were so many things, even including our sexual life, which has been extensively discussed. So, but I would say that well. I feel really good. Yeah.
Okay. If you have any questions, concerns to share, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature. Right. But Doc, last week we mentioned a few tips concerning the religious or maybe intermittent fasting. And one of the things I remember was that you emphasized that it's important for adherents to be well hydrated, to drink a lot of water. Can you just hit on that again as we move forward?
Yes. In fact, it's one thing that I would like to mention 100 times.
Okay.
During this period, a lot of people usually are not able to drink a lot of water, especially during the time we have our suhoor or the pre-dawn meal.
Okay.
And also because during the day, they won't have any opportunity to drink water.
Right.
So it becomes a problem. Dehydration is a common problem to the fasting person.
Okay.
So our advice and recommendation is that, instead of indulging in snacking habits during the night, a lot of people, those who fast, especially the youngsters, they sit at the bases and they chat and they, engage in consumption of these frizzy foods and all of that. Instead of that, they should take a lot of water. They should take that opportunity to rehydrate the system.
Okay.
So they should take water as much as possible during the night, so that at dawn too they can have some water. And then when we break our fast, we have to take water. And actually that is a recommendation of the Prophet, that we should break our fast with dates and then we have some water. Or if you don't find date, then water is the next option to break your fast with. So that tells us the relevance of drinking water. And even for those who find it difficult to eat in the morning, the Prophet admonishes us that even if it is water that you will get up and have and drink, it is good for you than to say you can't take anything in the morning.
So on the tail of that, let me ask you, so if a person is becoming or is actually dehydrated, are there any telltale signs? How do you know you are dehydrated? How do you know you haven't taken enough water? Okay.
Okay.
And
Yes.
and answering that, I'd like, one or both of you to comment. When we say take in water or be well hydrated, right? Are we referring to H2O, water, or fluid
Okay.
of other kinds?
Yes. So I think signs of dehydration include, the first thing is headache, really.
Okay.
Especially during the month of Ramadan. And also, if you realize that your urine has become colored, then it means that you are not hydrating enough.
Okay.
Or if you realize that you have frequent dry mouth and throat talking even in the afternoon during the day becomes so difficult, it
Right.
means that you didn't have enough water. So these are the signs.
Okay.
But the most important one is the headaches, because that is what it will really indicate, alert
Okay.
you that you didn't have enough water.
Right.
And even for the non-fasting, if anybody has frequent headaches, they should check their
Right.
hydration system, how much water they take.
Okay.
That may just be the problem. I used to have that problem, like a quarter of my head will be aching and all that. When I got to realize that dehydration can
It's
cause
related
that,
to being dehydrated.
dehydrated.
Does it
And
come with, is it accompanied by or associated with dizziness?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is also associated with
Right.
that.
Okay.
Yes. So once I fixed it, now I drink a lot of water. I don't remember the last time I've had that kind of headaches.
Right.
So it's very important for us to drink water.
Okay.
And some people find it difficult, like I said, to just take the H2O, like water,
Okay.
just pure water. They find it difficult. So in such situations, we recommend that they can have any fluid, and usually they add porridge to water just to make it tasty in a way
Okay.
that they can have, especially for the elderly. And that is why they put some porridge or something that is a bit sour
Okay.
in water, and then they have that.
Okay.
That also helps them to rehydrate the system.
So if I took coconut juice,
That is also
I'm still
one
hydrating.
way, a very good way of rehydrating the system.
Okay.
And it even has an implication on your electrolyte balance. So coconut water
Right.
is a very good source of fluid for the body if
Okay.
you can afford that.
Okay.
However, not the fizzy drinks that are out there, not the sugary caffeinated drinks that are out there. In fact,
Okay.
that can even lead to further dehydration. If you take any caffeinated food, caffeinated drinks,
Okay.
it is a bioactive substance. So it influences the heart and the blood vessels to contract. And once the heart and blood vessels are contracting, you are producing more urine. So you
Okay.
tend to lose a lot of water, and that will also lead to dehydration.
right, great stuff. But note, listeners, I know you guys, I know my discerning listeners. Doc said that he had challenges with headaches, and after addressing his own hydration, he hasn't had that. That doesn't mean that drinking water or hydrating solves or cures headaches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Headaches can be considered a symptom
Yeah.
Yeah.
of many other
many,
things.
many, many
things,
All right.
exactly, yeah.
So I don't want people to now menu monsieur, and therefore I will not seek attention
Yeah.
for my headache. If you have any questions, concerns, it's 29 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. The program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living. We're going deeper into the topic of
Let me just, if I could
just
add
a second.
something about
just a second. The topic of the benefits and challenges of fasting, right? The health benefits and challenges of fasting. We are hinging this on the Ramadan, Lent, and so on and so forth for your benefit, your information, and indeed your ultimate transformation. You just heard my two guests, Dr. Hadi Abdallah. He's a neurosurgeon with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, a practicing Muslim, alongside another practicing Muslim, Dr. Kasim Abdullahi. He specializes in nutrition and dietetics, and he's with the University of Cape Coast. Right? If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp 055 11 11 997. We're live, thankfully, on Facebook and YouTube. I've seen that my friend Dede is already typing in Maryland. Dede, at least I'm happy to announce that you're one person who doesn't fast when it comes to ultimate health. And you're always welcome. We hope everything's well with you. Does fasting not have any effect on the kidneys, especially? What about dehydration? Okay, we just talked about that. Drinking water flushes your system. So in a way, we've done part of that. She's talking about the impact on the renal system or the kidneys. We'll come to that. Yeah, Hadi, we're going to add something.
Yeah, I was going to add something to what Dr. Kasim
Yeah.
mentioned about the symptoms of dehydration. Yeah, dehydration is a very important physiological complication that anyone can get from fasting. But it's more common, really, in those who live in the tropical areas and then also in the desert areas.
Okay.
And this is the time that we usually would admonish those who employ like laborers who are always working in the sun to try and ease things for them. Now, if you go to the Gulf state,
Right.
most of the construction jobs actually are done at night,
Okay.
and it's something that we need to encourage people to do because
Okay.
dehydration has quite dire consequences
Right.
on most of our organs.
Okay.
And what he mentioned are usually like the early ones, the skin where there will be dehydration and all that. But
Right.
eventually it can affect like the kidneys, as has been mentioned. And if you have someone who is susceptible to forming kidney stones, like those with sickle cell disease,
Right.
or those who genetically have that susceptibility, they can easily form kidney stone during this period. So it is very important that the advice he gave about taking
Right.
water early is important. And really, it's a religion that also, it's not like a straitjacket, where everything is fixed. If you are dehydrated and there are signs that it is becoming problematic, you should seek help.
Right.
You can break the fast.
You can break the fast.
Yes, it's,
Okay.
it's something that we need to let people know.
Be aware of these symptoms. Look out for them, and should they be evident or manifest, take
Yeah.
action.
Yes.
Right, and the good prophet or the good Lord will not penalize you for that, and the scriptures don't dictate that or instruct that either.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's very important. People should find it. It is not about how masculine or like showing that you are a man, so I can fast, and some will say, oh, me, like, I don't eat anything, I will not. And if you are working in the sun and you're beginning to see the early signs of
Right.
this, you can even get into a place that there's a lot of moisture, or
Okay.
even in an air-conditioned environment with humidifier. That would also help you a lot.
Great
Yeah.
stuff. Right. We're learning, we're growing, we're transforming on Ultimate Health Joy 99.7 FM. We're talking about the benefits and challenges of fasting, especially with regard to the Ramadan and then the just about to end Lent period. On a Palm Sunday, interesting, right? This one says, hi, Nortey. I started my fasting initially from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And somewhere along the line, I started having some strange feelings in my tummy. So I decided to stop and do 6 to 12 noon, right? Could that mean I was developing an ulcer?
Okay, yeah. So it could.
he doesn't, or he or she does not describe the
Yeah,
feelings,
the
though they are qualified as strange tummy feelings, right? And then they've taken this action, but they're asking specifically about ulcer.
Yeah, it could be that the person already is predisposed to, for example, having gastritis. Yes, but the general language we use is ulcer, but there's
Okay.
a difference between ulcer and then gastritis.
Gastritis,
Yeah,
okay.
and I'll take this opportunity also to advise people not to always say that, oh, I have ulcer. If you think you have ulcer, or someone has told you that you have stomach ulcer and you've not done endoscopy before, then I will advise you use this advice and use this platform really to educate people that try and have endoscopy done. You can
Right.
see your doctors, because some of the ulcers are actually cancers.
Right.
Some of the stomach.
So what you're suggesting, Dr. Abdallah, is that this person who says strange feelings in my tummy has not investigated this,
Yeah.
right? But they've taken what they think to be remedial action,
Yeah.
right? And they're asking now, right,
Yeah.
over the airwaves, whether it could indicate that they have an ulcer. What you're saying is get it checked out
Yeah. Get it
properly,
checked out. It's very
professionally. right? It could be indicative of many other things,
Yes.
right? And it may or may not be to do with the intermittent fasting at all.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Great stuff. 35 minutes past the hour of 2. This one says, God bless you for your good work. I am a pastor and I'm sad that you didn't invite any ministers of the gospel to share the aspect of Lent. You see? This is Ray listening from Toronto. Actually, we just expanded the scope because the lessons are generic, okay?
Sure.
And it wasn't about the religious faith. It was more about the impact of fasting, okay? Because we're doing the Ghana month, I decided that we looked at many aspects of our culture, and I took this slice from the Islamic faith. So do forgive us, but I do hope and pray that you are benefiting, and I'm glad you're listening in Toronto, right? So yeah, that's the reason why I don't have any ministers of the faith, but hey, you're free to call in. My phone lines are 030-221-6541 Ghana. Yes, you can talk to us or make an input. Right. Good afternoon, Nortey. Welcome to my home. Hey, oh yeah. In Afienya. Charlie, this home, man. Send location. Right, but I'm glad you're always tuned in, as are many of our other discerning and loyal listeners. Now, let's come back to some of the things we learned the last time. So there's a pre-fast meal. That's a who.
Yeah,
Right?
that's cool.
Right. That you kind of do departure formalities. You eat
Exactly.
before the fast period, right? From dawn to dusk.
Yeah.
Okay. We cautioned listeners about overdoing this and also making sure that you are taking the right types of food, nutrient-dense food, and so on and so forth to sustain you over the period. Okay. Now, then you have the period where you are abstaining from food and drink till sunset, right?
Yes.
Okay. During that period, you are debarred from taking anything else. Okay. So, those who say they get, all sorts of uncomfortable pangs and they feel hungry or they feel this and that, what happens to the body? First and foremost, before we look at any religious implications, but what happens to the body when it seems to be signaling hunger, right? And you refuse. It's like your petrol gauge light is on and you say, I will go. What happens to the body where physiologically it is signaling that, hey, things are not okay, reload, top up? Do you face any consequences, or have you packed enough, or is it an indication that you didn't pack enough for the sahur? To sustain you.
Okay. So thank you very much for that question. But before I come to that, somebody asked a question whether fasting has implication
On the kidney.
On the kidney.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, research has shown that even those who have kidney problems, the first stage 2,
right,
and they are able to fast and they watch their diet and what they eat well, it even helped them in managing the kidney conditions.
Okay.
So at the end of the period, their kidney health is improved.
Right.
So fasting actually also has that positive effect on our kidney health and even our liver.
All right.
Now, with regards to what we eat for sahur and also during the day when you have any food, it takes about 4 to 6 hours, and then what you have had is digested and then converted to sugar for the body to use. So if you note, after every 6-7 hours time, you feel hungry.
Right.
And if you look at from breakfast to lunch to supper, it's about 5-7 hour interval.
Okay.
And that is how the body is programmed. Now, when you have your sahur, and then especially if you don't sleep with it and you engage in your daily routines, so by afternoon, the sugar, the glucose that is entered the body into the system, the body will have used it, and then it will need some more energy for you to continue with your routine activities and all that.
Right.
So from the 8th hour to the 12th hour and all that, the body will have to find a way to survive.
Okay.
Now, the first point of call when you finish using the glucose in the blood is the body to use glycogen.
Okay.
So the glycogen is the next source, and then once it is done using the glycogen, then it has to resort to body fat.
Okay.
So when you see anybody who is fat, who has some adipose, you know, it's all energy for the body, and that's why somebody can stay for months without eating, and they will still be alive. They won't die. It's only water that within a matter of days, if you don't have water, you can die. So the body fat, our body tissues actually can be used as food. And the last time Dr. Hardy mentioned autophagy, you know, where the body eats up itself, and that is why it is able to clear some of the cancerous cells in the body.
Right.
So the body will resort to body fat, adipose, and break it down to fatty acid, and then and use it for energy for the body. And that is how the body will manage itself. And then it is that shift, the flip from sugar to glycogen that really brings about the positive effect generally on our health, because it leads to you breaking down the excess cells that you have in the body, you using up, improving in the use of glucose in the system, and also helping you to manage even if you are ever diagnosed of dyslipidemia or high cholesterol and all that. That is how it will help to even clear the system and help you to manage those conditions. So that is basically what happens in the system if you fast, you know, towards the end of the period or towards the
so
evening.
Essentially, your body has the reserves, or should have the reserves, especially if you are in a good health status.
Exactly.
Right? And therefore, yes, you will get the signs, because the brain is also programmed to respond to certain signals and give you that alert for hunger, which means take something. But then you're saying that within the limits and with the preparation of the pre-fast meal, you should be able to hold yourself over without damaging the system. All right, great stuff. Rafiq Wumpini from Sene West constituency. Thanks for the education. I know where this is coming from. What a Ramadan package from the mother of all networks in Ghana and beyond. Thank you. The people of Sene West constituency wish Dr. Kasim Abdullahi the best of luck in the upcoming NDC parliamentary primaries. We are solidly behind you. Okay. Well, that goes to you and your quest to become an MP. Maybe you can regulate the intake of ex-Russia.
Right. You should hold him to it.
Yes. So that they will do a switch from our money to their money. Blessed Sunday, Nortey and guests, great discussions. I think the dry fasting is the one that creates problems. But if you drink water in between, the fasting is good. And drinking coconut first in the morning is the best. Happy Palm Sunday to you all from Sarah Amanfo inside Winneba. Right, so people have their own bits and pieces of tips and advice for those who engage or undertake fasting for whatever reason. If you have any questions, phone line is active 0302 216541. We're talking about the good, the bad, and the hungry of fasting, and benefits and challenges, things you need to look out for. Right, now I wanted to bring in the special groups, those who are afflicted by sickle cell, the diabetics, and so on and so forth. All this cell renewal, cleansing, better efficiency in the management of blood sugar, and so on are noted benefits of fasting, and especially intermittent fasting. But any words or concerns or cautions for persons in special groups? Right, if you are hypertensive, if you are diabetic, if you are you have sickle cell, and so on, are there any special concerns for these groups of people who may obviously fall within the religious groups we're talking about, or who for other reasons may undertake a fast?
I think that the Quran mentioned certain people who are exempted. For example, those with nursing mothers, for example, they are
pregnant.
exempted.
I think the pregnant women were
yes. So the issue of pregnant women is not like straightforward.
Okay.
You know, it's something that is subject to interpretation by by the scholars. So there are some scholars who think that pregnant women should not fast. Some also think that if you are a pregnant woman, you are capable, you should be able to fast.
Okay.
You know, but of course, I mean, for now, Muslims have also ventured into research. So some of these Islamic medical associations, including the one in UK, have all conducted like researches, and they've realized that the effect on pregnant women is not as dire as people initially thought.
Okay.
But for the nursing mother, remember, she has to produce milk, and this requires a lot of energy. So for them, it's clear they have to.
Okay.
And then for hypertensives, really fasting actually benefits them more.
Okay.
For those who are hypertensive, there's no known side effects or complications that, especially if you want to do intermittent fasting or the Islamic fast.
Right.
And now there are even newer drugs that are formulated said that you take it once a day. So in the past, when you see a hypertensive, they are taking so many like medication, 4 or 5 medications. But some of these drugs have been formulated into one. You have like combination drugs and they are long acting. The same applies to diabetics.
Okay.
So if you are a diabetic on insulin, for example, we advise that before we start fasting, or even now that we've started, you can still go and see your doctor for them to restructure your insulin injection because the benefit that you derive from this fast, especially for these two groups, hypertensive and diabetics, I don't think they should lose out of it. But of course, there are some of them who might have developed some complications already. For example, if you are a diabetic and you have a diabetic foot, or you've developed an infection, and it requires that you have to take medication 3 times a day, it means that you will lose out of this fasting. Now, for sickle cell disease patients, they tend to have crisis when they are dehydrated.
Yeah.
You know, so, but remember, we also have like different group of sickle cell. The SS tend to have more severe type of the illness as compared to like the SC. And they know over the years whether they are able to withstand dehydration better or not.
Okay.
But for the SSS, I recommend that they shouldn't fast at all.
Okay.
Okay. They are encouraged to also help the poor who cannot feed, so they can go and
there are other
feed.
Articles of faith.
Yes,
right.
which they can.
Yeah.
Yes, and there are certain even gestures that, if done, have been said that it is almost equal to someone who has fasted even for a whole year. So there's always a way of getting like those blessings.
Okay.
Now,
let me just announce the phone lines again: 0302-216-541. Want you to get in your questions, whether you're in Toronto or Techiman. Get in your questions. 0302216541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. We're talking about fasting broadly, but we've hinged it on Ramadan, Lent, and many other aspects. But we're looking at the health benefits and, of course, the contraindications or the cautions that you should observe. Yes.
Yeah. And then also, just to touch a bit on hunger, I realize people ask about it. You know, if you look at the physiology of hunger, it's basically the stomach and then the brain acting. Now, we have the satiety center, and then we have also the hunger centers of the brain.
Yeah.
Remember, the brain is the control center, and it can be suppressed. So, if you eat, what usually happens is that when the food enters your stomach, within 2 hours, it's cleared. And that is when it is cleared, that is when you begin to feel hungry. But at that time, there's actually energy in your body.
Right.
And sometimes we mix it up. The gastric clearance and you feeling some emptiness in your stomach and feeling of hunger is different from when you have low level of sugar.
Right.
Because that one comes with dizziness. So even though when you feel that, look, my stomach is empty, but you don't have like dizziness or the symptoms of hypoglycemia, that's low levels of sugar, it doesn't really require you to go and eat.
Okay. You see what happens when you bring a neurosurgeon to come and talk about, right? But we do that as well in psychology, brain biology and behavior.
Exactly.
Right? Indeed, we can fiddle with your brain and you won't eat.
Yeah.
Right? We do it with mice in the lab and all that. And
Exactly.
we know the brain center that controls those messages. Okay. But what he's saying essentially is that, yes, you get a signal, but your petrol gauge, your food gauge is not on.
Yeah.
Right? You are not in crisis.
Exactly.
But of course, there are those who feed on demand. Right? The slightest, they will top up. Right? If it was alcohol, they'll go to the blue kiosk. Right? But you are saying that there's a distinction between these signals and they are controlled differently. And therefore, we should be mindful of that. Okay. I got this from Douglas in DC. Mr. Alfred Nortey Dua, indeed, water is life. Does fasting also have anything to do with weight loss? I think we mentioned that last week and this week. I take bananas around 5:40 a.m. before starting my fasting. Is that a good practice? Great insight today. Right? He takes bananas before fasting. That's his pre-departure formality. This one says, good afternoon. We're watching you live on Facebook. We're very grateful for having our own Dr. Kasim Ebe Abdullahi on this show to give us more and more on health education. May your dream of becoming the member of parliament, Senate West, become reality. This is from Najao Alhaji Salisu Kwame Danso, Sene West. All right. Your commander. Yes. Okay. I hope politics is good for your system. It may be the type of nutrient I would say avoid, but I do understand wanting to serve your constituency and your nation.
Yes.
Okay. Having said that, I have hit my gavel and I will not get into political matters. Otherwise, my listeners, this one says, this is from Dede. It says, I know people with diabetes that fast. Dates, the date fruit or the date from the date palm.
Yes.
Is it good for the diabetic?
Yeah.
I understand dried fruits are no for diabetics. This is from Dede. I unknowingly fast, especially when I have deadlines to meet. Right? This is accidentally on purpose. But she does drink a lot of water. She wants your comment on this. So dates are nutrient dense, right? Last time I asked you for the local name. I forgot the name.
Dabino.
Dabino. Is that in Hausa? Or what language is that?
Yeah, I think it's in Hausa.
But all the languages.
All the languages.
That's what we use.
Dabino.
We say Dabino.
Dabino.
Yes,
okay. All right. If you know any Akan or Ga name for dates or the date palm fruit, let us know. She's asking about its constituents and whether it's good for diabetics.
Yes. So let me even add a bit to the pregnant woman and then
just quickly.
Those who are
we have about 8 minutes more.
Okay. Who are breastfeeding. So when a woman is pregnant, we have the first trimester, we have the second trimester, and then the last trimester. Now, the first trimester, the nutrient requirement is not so different from a normal person.
Okay.
So during that period, the person can fast without any implication.
I was going to ask whether this was sensitive to the
yes. But during the second trimester, there is an energy increase by about 300 kilocalories, and during the last trimester, it's about 400 to 450. So it becomes very important for them to watch to be sure that they can fast before they do. And like Dr. Hadi mentioned, for the lactating mother, they need about 500 kilocalories energy more to be able to breastfeed their children. So for them, they have to really make sure that they satisfy that before they can engage in fasting. Now, dates and dabino, it's good for a diabetic person because it is rich in nutrients. It is also rich in fiber. Now, for all fruits, because they contain sugar, so it is the quantity that is of more importance to us when we are engaging our patient. So it is how many of it that they take. So about 2-3 pieces will not cause any harm, but it is of course rich in sugar. Some people, once they break their fast, they bring a bowl of date and they start to consume and drink water. For a diabetic person, it is not a good thing to do, but the person can have just 1 or 2 or maximum 3 pieces, and that is fine for that person.
Stuff. You see, when he starts talking about what you meant 300 what calories.
Yeah, kilocalories.
You see, when
That's
you start
energy.
using the technical terms, then I'm thinking that this man is going to sit in parliament and all this. Okay. Anyway, yes, Daniel says date palm is known as ago in Ewe. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
wow.
Right? Here, you see, this is
Yeah, we are also learning.
the
Yeah.
dial of
Yes.
distinction, right? And then dates is called Achriswa Infanti. Bernard A. and Siwa in Bahrain sends
Oh,
that.
Achriswa.
Okay,
That's
right.
right.
Let me say that again. Achriswa Infanti. Now,
Wow.
the reason I wanted this is because typically it doesn't grow in our part of the world.
Yeah.
I did read something about it being grown in Wale Wale
Yeah.
in some document, okay? But people, once we have a name for it, then it does exist here, and the people are aware of it. It's very, very good nutritionally, right? And
We are trying it actually in Kolebu.
Okay.
We brought some few fresh ones.
when you say you're
after
trying it, what do you mean? Growing it in Kolebu?
trying to grow it here in Kolebu in our environment to just see whether, and it's actually coming up.
Really?
A
Coming
good
up
experiment.
nicely, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Many people, when they hear Kolebu, they think only of the hospital. Okay. Hadi has a farm somewhere. You don't know. All right. Great stuff. So we're learning that there are benefits, but there are a lot of challenges and cautions we should manage, and we should be aware of. Right. In wrapping up, I know at the tail end, for the Muslims, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where we have the Idul
Featuring.
Fitr. Okay, I'd like you to pronounce it before I get it wrong, which is the feast after
Yes.
the fast.
The fast, yeah.
Okay, we have a few minutes left, but after doing this to my body, on off, like Doomso, and yeah, so light off, yeah, Doom light off, and all those kind of things, and then party, return to how things were. Doesn't that confuse the brain, the stomach, and all the comininis in between? We understand the religious observation and celebration, okay? And all the things that go with it. But what are the dangers of doing this to my body, harnessing and getting the benefits you talk about,
Yes.
and then I go and splurge
Yes.
in the name of religious celebration?
Yes.
So the VAR, how does it look at the end?
Okay. So, before I come to that, please let me caution those who have diabetes.
Okay.
They can also experience a term that Dr. Hadi mentioned earlier, hypoglycemia.
That's right.
So, when they are fasting, their sugar levels can become very low. During that instant, they have to break their fast immediately. And that is when they begin to feel dizziness, they begin to get confused about their surroundings. So, they should know that those are signs of hypoglycemia. And immediately, they have to get some sugary food, a drink, or they can even add some sugar into water, dissolve it and drink.
Right.
So that is very important.
Okay.
Now, coming to fasting and when we break our fast, in fact, doing it for a day and then if it were done properly, that wouldn't be a problem because you have undertaken this spiritual activity a month long. It is something that we should celebrate, but
Like
it,
the guys hooting at hunger.
All
right.
Yes, but it has to be moderate. We don't have to overindulge because sometimes somebody can develop a health complication just by one, dietary activity that they have embarked on. So they have to be mindful. They have to make sure that it is not sugary, it is not greasy, it is as healthy as possible when even we are celebrating.
Okay.
And because it is not habitual, the other thing is that people develop these complications when they make it a habit.
Okay.
And like you said, some people break their fast, they have this festive celebration, and then they make it continuous. So for the next 2 weeks after breaking their fast, every day is they are feasting. Every day they are feasting. That you can easily eat yourself into problems. And we have to really be careful. It has to be just a day, and it
makes
to be
nonsense of the discipline and all the things
exactly
that
so
underpin this
you have
observation.
cancelled everything that you have done because
Right.
like we said, the period is supposed to train you. Even after the period, what you have learned in terms of your dietary habit, your dietary behavior, you have to try and inculcate that to let some of it remain in your life, just to improve your lifestyle, especially your dietary habit. That is very, very important. But when you finish and you get back to all the foods, all the greasy, all the sugary, all the colors, and then different eating times, disordered eating times, it doesn't help.
Humongous
Yeah,
portions.
Exactly.
Right.
And even the control of hunger. When people are eating, especially when they break their fast, you may fill yourself over before the system will alert you that you are satisfied. So we have to be mindful about that.
Great
also.
stuff. All right. Wow. All too soon we are out of time. This one says they grow, referring to dates, in Winneba and other coastal towns in Ghana. But the sizes are smaller compared to the ones in the Gulf countries, right? So we're getting a lot of information. It's available. It's out there. It's like years ago when I did the HIV training in Uganda, and there was a lot about what's it called now? Oh, why have I forgotten? I always call it Yevuchi. The leaves.
Is it Boko Boko?
Not Boko Boko. Oh, suddenly it's gone.
It's not
Moringa.
Moringa.
Yeah.
Moringa.
Yeah.
In the Volta region, they use it as hedges.
Wow.
But there's one which is not good and is supposedly poisonous or toxic, right?
Yeah.
And I started talking a lot about moringa. And then suddenly the names were coming and we use it and we got it, right? And again, these things are available and accessible and not too expensive, right? We need to use them. Thank both of you for all the information and the education. I'm hoping, let me also wish you well in your
Thank you.
parliamentaries.
Thank you. I need that.
But when you get in there, don't go and do ex gratia as
Not to be
I
whipped.
promise you, when I get there, I will still work with you
Because-
so that you can control me.
Because you've been fasting.
And Dr. Hardy has always been my boss. Actually,
Right.
he's an inspiration to
Okay.
me. So we are looking up to them.
Always great to have you guys
yes.
on our Dial of Distinction. Dr. Kasim Abdullahi, specialist in nutrition and dietetics with the University of Cape Coast, here in that capacity. But he's contesting for a seat in Sydney West on the ticket of the NDC. Dr. Hadi Abdallah is Nungwa neurologist and a neurosurgeon, right? So he's a brain mechanic, right? He's got all the spare parts. He does all the surgery and stuff, right?
Greetings to Dede last year.
Uh-huh.
I think she sent a message as well. So I think she's a regular. Yes.
We
Listener,
cannot delete
yeah.
her. Hey,
yeah.
she's the show, right? Dede, thumbs up to you, right? Her birthday was on the International Women's Day, the 8th of March.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you. We're out of time. We are over time. We go over to some good music, which maybe will help with your fast. Stick and stay on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nortey by Nature, produced by Abeku Sankofi. Stick and stay. Don't go anywhere.